Mike, check, check, check. Justin Hunt. It's all happening. Thank you guys for rocking with the channel. Thank you to everyone who's supported through the Cash App or through the link tree. I've been traveling all day. That's why I've only had one video go up so far. It's another reason why this video is going up so late in the day, but there's two stories I really want to get to. Also, big shout out to all my members. I got 51 members. Cross 50. YouTube congratulated me. I got to figure this lighting out. I'll figure it out next time. I've been down south and I had like all this good natural light going on everywhere. Maybe that's a little better. You guys let me know. But thank you so much for, again, supporting this channel. I've been in the zone, dropping a lot of videos, a lot of conversations that I find interesting. And two today, I think are just, I was on the plane checking them out, getting back to LA. And I was like, oh man, I can't believe this happened. The first one is on Sauce Walka. Now, if you guys haven't heard of Sauce Walka, punch yourself in the face, right? He's probably the most influential artist to come out of Houston, you know, this century. He's one of them this century. You know what I mean? Like, I know Travis Scott's probably the biggest name, but Sauce Walka is the dude that has been holding it down on the ground. I'd argue that he's the most influential artist of his generation to come out of Houston. And he has a long history with Drake, of course, but he was on the Breakfast Club, and they asked him about how he feels about Drake and Drake's affiliations with Houston. Let's take a look at what he says.
What I was saying, it's not make believe. It's simple. It's not fucking rocket science. It was simple shit. If you in this city and you saying like what you just said that it wouldn't be no
Drake without Houston.
It wouldn't be no Drake without Houston. Okay, so
Houston, Atlanta, Vegas. You know what I mean? Jay Prince, Jazz Prince, essentially funded Drake out the gate. You know, when you hear it come up in these battles, and it's like you were signed to a nigga that signed to a nigga that said he was signed to that nigga. You know what I'm saying? That's Jazz Prince, that's Jay Prince before you get to Young Money, before you get to Cash Money, before you get to Republic, before you get to Universal. Now, obviously, Drake's deal is different, but this is where this conversation is and what they're talking about.
What I was saying, it's not make believe. It's simple. It's not fucking rocket science. It was simple shit. If you in this city and you saying like what you just said that it wouldn't be no
Drake without Houston.
It wouldn't be no Drake without Houston. Okay, so at the time, why did Drake not? It's still to this day. Why did Drake not have no bunch of records with Houston artists? You didn't doing that with Atlanta. If you love Atlanta, and it's 7, 8, 9, 15 artists that you got songs with in Atlanta. Because why? Yeah. Not only does you know that the city of Atlanta was gonna look at you weird for not doing that, look at you and feel a certain type of way by you not making those songs and making those moments with that city, but you knew that it was also beneficial for you as an artist to make music with these songs because the leveling of stardom and momentum, it feeds each other versus you feel that I'm just the A-side artist that's lifting up this musician. But it's
you run to Atlanta when you need to check balance. I mean, to be fair, a lot of people might think of Drake and Bun B. I know they did a collaboration. Drake has written songs for Beyonce, right? Bun B, you know, he's from Port Arthur. I think he was born in Houston, but he grew up in Port Arthur. So I'm not sure if that really falls inside of what Sauce Walka is talking about here. But he is saying Drake is willing to collaborate with artists on his own level because he's done songs with Travis Scott too, right? He's saying when it's mutually beneficial, Drake will do it. When it's helping the broader culture in the city or helping the city in broader ways, that's where the question comes in.
If Houston, you looking at it for the market share. All of these country ass people in Houston, they got all of this land, all these clubs, all these women, all these people in these big ass arenas and events that's going on, but they don't have a large community and representatives of people that are knowledgeable about the music industry, that have resources that can say, hey, y'all been around this artist and you helped them, you was in the studio when they was making that song, you told them to add this and this on the hook, you get a couple writer points for that. Or you was up in there when you made the beat, you supposed to get, okay, y'all was in the, you brought him to Houston and you took him there to this club and you took him to this hood and you introduced him to Charlamagne. It's a feature and the song come behind that.
Yeah, I mean, that is a true thing too. Anybody who's an artist out there are certain cities that are anchor cities that really hold it down for the entire region. LA is one, New York is one, Atlanta is one, right? So artists coming out of Houston, for example, you can blow up in Houston, but you don't really make it until you break out of Atlanta. Same thing with Miami. If you're in Miami and you're a rapper, you definitely got to leave Miami because Miami is a dancing city. That is Caribbean all over the place. That is every type of language, country, and culture in the Caribbean's in Miami. So if you ain't making people dance in Miami, you need to leave Miami, blow up, come back to Miami, right? Just ask Pitbull, right? So you know what I mean? Like, and Houston is one of those places. Houston is huge, but Texas is a sports state. It's not a music state, right? So you have to. So there isn't the same institutional knowledge within just the general community of Houston in the way that there is with Atlanta, because Atlanta is a music city.
From the Charlemagne, it's a feature and the song come behind that. In every other city, it's a long list. California, it's a long list of artists from the Bay all the way to LA. They got the songs with Drake. So how did Drake love Houston so much at that time and not have music with artists that you are uplifting from this community? Fuck me. I don't care. It's bigger than me. I didn't care about the song with me.
A whole lot of sense to me.
You know what I'm saying? But what I would like from then to now, Travis Scott is the only rapper that still got a song with Drake. Travis Scott, again, what I just said earlier, it makes sense. It's an equal trade. It's not necessarily like, oh, bro, I'm helping Houston and changing your life and changing your career. And it's bigger than just saying, oh, well, person wants the Drake stimulus package. Bro, fuck all of that. It's about fair exchange and business. If you are using the lineage and the culture of somebody's city or somebody's hometown and backyard, do something that helps not yourself and your more of your notoriety for your own benefit with the ladies and the people in the city. Do something that actually makes the economy of that city and music and musicians bigger and greater. So therefore, we can have Rolling Loud in Houston. We can have more young artists performing on bigger platforms, Jimmy Fallon and Jay Leno and all this other shit, because an artist of this magnitude is living in our backyard. That's all I was saying. Not just for me, just for anybody.
Literally.
Yeah, I mean, that makes all the sense in the world, man. Otherwise, you get labeled a culture vulture. Otherwise, you run to Atlanta when you need to check ballots. You know what I mean? I mean, people say this about everywhere, right? This is a common thing people everywhere say about their communities. People don't like it when people come to their communities and take all the benefits and don't add anything or use what they can to make their communities better. You know what I mean? Like I've been in LA for almost 11 years now. I don't claim to be a Los Angelino, but one of the things I'm most proud of is being a LA Mission ambassador. You know, every Friday I volunteer with the LA Mission, either in the warehouse or we do prayer walks around the community. It's just my way of helping people less fortunate. You know, I've been blessed with so much. Why not do more? I'm not saying Drake isn't doing those things, but this is a running narrative that we see when it comes to how people in a lot of cities, a lot of places look at how Drake sort of latches on for personal benefit. Now, Sauce Walka is a really interesting case, right? You know, if someone told me that Sauce Walka is a Jay Prince too, I'd understand. You know, I might not agree, but I'd understand, right? I mean, this dude's story is so crazy. You know, he was, what he used to go? I think he used to go by A-Walk. He went by A-Walk as a rapper. And at one point, Trey the Truth was blocked from the radio station in Houston because there was a shooting during, if I'm not mistaken, Trey Day and in front of TSU, and it was Sauce Walka. Sauce Walka did the shooting. He went to jail, he did his time, and he came out and he had this whole mindset of unifying Houston, right? The north side and the south side, there was red and there was blue, right? So that's where he came out with purple. The Sauce Factory had people from both sides of the city representing for the city under the purple flag. They had a whole thing, the drip, the sauce, right? They had, when he was with the Sauce Twins, they had a big regional hit called Too Legit to Quit It. Too Legit to Quit It. I mean, Sauce Walka could really rap, right? But it was called Too Legit to Quit It. And Drake was supposed to jump on that song, right? And so through a series of events, Drake said he was gonna jump on the song. We actually broke this story when I was at Hip Hop DX. Their manager at the time, Sauce Diddy. It was funny because it was another story that was actually about Jay Prince getting Steve Francis got his chain stolen at some point in time, and Jay Prince ended up with it. But we ended up talking to Sauce Diddy. Big shout out to my man DJ Hardhitter, one of the most well-connected people I've ever met in my life in the entire career. Stand-up guy, 100%, 10 toes down all the time. He set that up. And so we talked to Sauce Diddy, and at that time he was saying that, yo, Drake was gonna hop on the Too Legit to Quit It remix. Well, that never happened. That never happened. I mean, the Sauce Twins were two young artists in a very Migos, similar space to where Migos was when Drake jumped on their joints. And so that was going to be a huge look for the Sauce Twins, but it never happened. So he did an interview. He did an interview with Complex, and he said, "You put up a post on Instagram saying he's using the city." Sauce Walka said, "It's plain and simple: a man lying to another man. I didn't ask Drake for a feature. This was all situations that came upon us while we were doing what we were doing for the city. Drake took it upon himself to say he was going to get on the song, and he lied to us and let us down. We met face to face on many different occasions. He requested for us to come to Las Vegas to meet him at one of his parties, and the whole meeting was about linking up with the Sauce Twins and putting the youth of Houston at a higher pedestal. He looked us in the eye at the table and said, 'I support your movement, and I'm going to do what I can do to support you guys.' It's like someone trying to recruit a kid in college basketball and not come through. It's all lies. He takes it upon himself to use references of our music for himself, like saying sauced up and all that. I expressed my feelings about it. It ain't no disrespect. He's a great artist, but it's just a situation that should have never happened." So that's what Sauce Walka felt about that. I think this is 2015. That's, at least at one point, he felt like this, right? Now, there's also another story that the Sauce Twins did an interview with either DJ Vlad or DJ Smalls. I think it was DJ Smalls, actually. And they asked him why Drake would want to jump on his song, and Sauce's answer was, "Oh yeah, Drake sees what we're doing and wants to stay relevant." So there's two sides to that. There's two sides of that. If I'm Drake and I hear the Sauce Twins say I need them to stay relevant in 2015, I might have an eyebrow raise. I might not need to jump on that song. But this situation really blew up. Really blew up. Drake would come out and perform at Houston Appreciation Weekend. And one year, while Sauce Walka, like he said, he's reaching out to Drake, he was trying to figure out what his feature was, and no one was answering the call. So he runs up on them at Del Frisco's. Jazz Prince, I believe, Drake. They walk up in there and press Drake. They're like, "What are you doing? Where's this feature?" It was a thing. It was a real situation. A real situation. Right? We covered that as well. And so needlessly to say, we never got the feature. Now, separate to that, the Sauce Twins also were big on the drip. It was a dance. It was a movement, right? All the young people in the city of Houston at that point in time, everybody was doing the drip dance. Everybody was doing it, right? Here's a clip of Sauce Walka talking about it.
Introduction of a proper demonstration on how you spill this flavor, man. We seen a lot of people all over the world and all over Instagram and everything, social media sites, spilling flavor, dripping sauce, and you know what I'm saying, moving like us, and you know what I'm saying, being anointed catching sauce detector. So we just want to make sure that you're doing it right, and y'all know exactly where it came from. You know what I'm saying? Me, sauce there.
I don't know. All right, so the rest of this video is showing them doing the dance, right? I'll speed it up in the background, right? So this Sauce Walka thing, unifying the city, bringing two sides of the city together under the purple flag, under the purple banner. Sauce was a thing. Well, then Drake, as you saw Sauce mentioned in that clip there, Drake has a tendency to take things and say that they're his. So instead of the drip or instead of the sauce dance, Drake did a show where he says this.
I say, y'all want to see me do my dance?
I say y'all want to see me do my dance. He calls it my dance. Watch what he does. He says my dance, right? He doesn't say the drip. He's not giving props to nobody. He says my dance, right?
I say y'all want to see me do my dance?
That's clearly Sauce Walka's dance, right? Sauce Walka was very upset. But this is an example of what Sauce was saying in this interview, taking things and not giving credit. Well, that's after this, that was the last straw, right? So Sauce Walker goes to Twitter. This is 2015. You guys might remember this cover because this is the cover of Back to Back, Drake's Meek Mill disc. Sauce Walker is a pioneer in calling out Drake for being a culture vulture. Again, this is 2015. And so this is Sauce Walker's Twitter page. Oh man, this hitter tried to call the drip a dance. He was very upset. And so he drops whack to whack, right? It's one of the best Drake disses. I think the Joe Budden series, away from Kendrick stuff, Joe Budden and Sauce Walker, they set the blueprint for how to get at Drake, right? So he goes to whack to whack. Now, we did a review of that back in the day. Here's part of what I said about it. So I mentioned Del Frisco's. That's when they went and pressed Drake with Jazz Prince, right? Those Del Frisco bars, though, are consistent with what's been coming out of the Houston scene for months. I've had several sources tell me that Sauce Walker and team ran up on Drake while he was meeting with his team at the high-end restaurant a month prior to Houston Appreciation Weekend. Allegedly, Drake again promised to have his verse for Too Legit to Quit It at that time, but reneged and did so disrespectfully. Then Sauce checked him again at the beginning of Houston Appreciation Week. Drake missed several events throughout the weekend, only resurfacing once Jay Prince landed back in Houston. So when Walker raps, I came to the dinner table real urgent. Now, all week I had you around the city sneaking. You missed about 3 shows that weekend. That's what he's talking about. That's what he's talking about. You know what I mean? This is a blast from the past. I can't believe this came back up. Here's the last paragraph I wrote. On the surface, making a diss track because someone stole your dance feels petty, but there's much more behind whack to whack than just salt and shade. Drake has a direct relationship with the city of Houston, and the city has a direct relationship with Drake. He knows that Houston isn't Hollywood. People don't say things that they don't mean reflexively in H-Town, especially when it comes to business. Blood and bone, bars and word. The Sauce Factory had been speaking publicly about that Drake feature since March and suddenly got curved. Then they turn on the internet and see Drizzy doing their drip and calling it his dance. Tipping point reach. I mean, this sounds like a lot of things that have been coming out this battle as well. This again sounds like another thing coming out of this battle. You know what I mean? And just to be fair, to let you know how ill Sauce Walker really is. Sauce Walker is an incredibly successful artist. He's one of the most successful independent artists right now, right? I mean, it seems like he might have made a PR change because he's getting a lot of great looks, and as you can tell, he gives incredible interview. But he's dumb talented and can rhyme crazy. But when he did that Del Frisco's thing, and that got back to Jay Prince, and runs music in Houston, probably much more than that. Especially at that point in time on the impact of the music side. They knew about Sauce Twins. They were coming up through that supply chain. That stunted Sauce Walker's momentum for a good 3 to 4 years. A good 3 to 4 years. And that dude has battled back, dropping crazy tracks, always staying fresh with the movement. One of the most influential cats out of Houston. Ended up in Obama's summer playlist, I think in 2023. Ended up in Obama playlist. I mean, this is a certified Houston legend at this point. And it's bigger than that. All the things that I love about hip hop, the independent spirit, get it regardless, breaking all the rules, forge your own path, drove by the fork in the road and went straight. That is Sauce Walker. Sauce Walker didn't bend. He showed up at the table, said, "Where's my feature? Oh, y'all gonna bench me? I'm gonna get it anyway." You know, his dad was a wrestler. I think his name is Albert Rage Walker, I think his name was. He's a fighter. He's got fighter in his blood. You know what I mean? So it's great to see him on The Breakfast Club, but this is what he's talking about. That's the backstory to it. You know, you fast forward, I know him and Drake, you know, they ended up squashing the beef. This was them, I believe this was earlier this year. This is April of this year. They're in the club, dapping each other up. They squashed the beef years ago. You know, we'll see what kind of feathers might be ruffled following this conversation with The Breakfast Club. We'll see what happens with that. But everything that Sauce Walka said in 2015 on Whack to Whack are things that showed up in this battle as well. And this clip of him on The Breakfast Club is going super viral. I just really wanted to take this moment to give you guys a backstory on that. I see a lot of people talking about what he said. I didn't see as many people go into a lot of the nuances of the backstory, so I wanted to share that with you. And I really wanted to give Sauce Walka his respect. You know what I mean? Because he is the epitome of all the things that is hip hop. Something from nothing, forge your own way, craft something extraordinary. Let me know what you guys think about this. Thank you guys for bearing with. I would have had this up earlier, but I was on the plane. And let me know if you guys are Sauce Walka fans, if you rock with his music, if you rock with his style, if you have an understanding of the influence that he's had in Houston and at this point, even beyond that. My name is Justin Hunt. Like and subscribe to the channel. Follow @TheCompanyMan on everything. It's all happening.
Justin Hunt is here, it's all happening. Justin Hunt is here, it's all happening. The mathematical breakdown of this mighty game of rap we in. It's boom bapping. Systematical culture views us radical, it's all happening. Shaking hands and dapping it. Life through the lens of hip hop, from trip hop to yes, y'all, you don't stop, you don't stop. Justin Hunt is here, it's all happening. It's all happening, yes, it's all happening. Justin Hunt is here, it's all happening. It's all happening.